Over the past 3 years, our once vacant mountain lot is starting to look a lot more like a childhood dream I had envisioned. I'm proud of what we built, but mistakes were made along the way. I thought I would share some of those mistakes to maybe help save you some of the troubles I encountered. Mistake number 1, the foundation footing. Our cabin build is on the side of a mountain with several hundred yards to the 2-track road. I wanted a strong foundation, but also something that was easy to carry. The camo deck block seemed to be the perfect fit. It was stronger than concrete, but 18 times lighter. That sounded perfect. 8 holes were dug to below the frost line. The camo blocks were dropped in the holes on a layer of decaying granite, and the posts were set and backfilled. The cabin build now had a firm foundation. Several months ago, one of my viewers pointed out my blatant mistake. How did I miss that? Apparently, in the latest camo block user guide, it clearly states, "Do not bury." The material camo blocks are made of can last up to 200 years underground and is built to withstand cracking. So I reached out to Camo Block to see if they could give me an explanation. Here is their response. Basically, it hasn't been certified for underground use, so use another product. So what is the solution? Just use another product that is certified for underground foundation footing use. Looks like Footin' Pad makes a similar product that is certified and similar cost to camo blocks. Now that we're back on a firm foundation, let's look at mistake number 2. On almost every step of my project, I wanted to minimize cost while maximizing performance. The insulation between the rafters is one example. I found that the highest rating batt insulation I could use between my 2x8 rafters was R30 rock wool. This may have provided the highest R value, but it lacked a ventilation path critical for preventing condensation that could occur when warm, moist inside air collides with the cooler temperature of the roof deck material. The solution? I should have upsized my rafters a bit to 2x10s. It looks like this would have only added about $95 more to my lumber bill. With upsized rafters, I would now have room for insulation baffles. That would have added about $120. This next mistake was a hard one to see. With one heavy, wet spring snowstorm, our beautiful wraparound deck was almost destroyed. In the rush of the summer activities, I got in a hurry and just screwed my deck supports together. I'd intended to get back to the cabin and properly support the deck with lag screws and add a support ledge to each of the weight-bearing posts. Before I knew it, the summer was gone and I didn't make it to the cabin for several months. It was clear my temporary construction wasn't strong enough to pass the winter test. The solution? The first thing I needed to do was remove the weight from the failing deck. Once the weight was removed, I was able to reattach the boards that came down due to failing screws. I then rebuilt the beam support post to have a portion sit under the weight-bearing beams. I did this for every single post and support board on the deck. Now, the weight is no longer just relying on the sheer strength of a screw or a lag bolt, but the strength of a properly notched wood post. With the deck rebuilt properly, we were ready to enjoy another summer. This time, we could rest easy knowing we were well supported by our deck. On to mistake number 4. One of my viewers was kind enough to give me a warning about the angle of my ladder after seeing me climbing and building in some sketchy situations. He had a fall off a ladder at a similar angle and was banged up pretty bad without anyone around to help. I also often work alone without anyone around to help, so I listened to his warning and tried to make it a practice to keep my ladder at a safe angle. What I failed to watch for is what I set the feet of my ladder on. One afternoon I got in a hurry, and without thinking about it, I set my ladder on some slippery house wrap scraps. When I got to the top of the ladder and was about to step into my loft, the legs of the ladder slipped out from under me and I fell about 7 feet. I landed on top of the ladder and broke several rungs of the ladder with my back. Somehow I didn't hit my head and I didn't break any bones. I was very fortunate. It could have been much worse. The solution to this mistake? Yes, keep the ladders at a safe angle, but also watch what you set them on.
Finally, mistake number 5. You may have noticed I can get in a hurry when I'm building. At times, I let the excitement of the next steps distract me from finishing some of the mundane parts of the build. This was the case on insulating the floor of my cabin. I wanted the floor sheeting down as quickly as possible so I could start putting up walls. Insulating the floor was something I could do later. Or maybe I wouldn't even need to insulate the floor. I mean, it was just a cabin. Do I really need to insulate the floor? How much heat is really lost through the floor? In our first overnight camp out at the cabin, I found out. When temps outside turned frigid, suddenly floor insulation didn't seem like such an unnecessary task. The next spring, I crawled on my back under every joist and put up insulation and some 1/4-inch sheeting to keep the critters out. Is there a better way? I was recently watching another Pacific Northwest cabin builder, Life on the Moose. He had a clever solution. Rather than first attaching all the joists to the beams individually, he built his floor system upside down in 4-foot sections. Each 4-foot section had a few floor joists with OSB sheets attached. Then he would just flip the sections over and attach them to the beams. Once flipped over, he added his insulation and tongue-and-groove floor decking. What a simple solution.
Well, there you have it. 5 mistakes I made building my cabin. Yes, I'm sure there are many more, but I thought some of these were worth sharing. Have you seen other mistakes I've made in my cabin build? In the next few months, I'm hoping to post a start-to-finish off-grid mountain cabin build video. Check back for that one, and feel free to let me know what you see in the comments. Also, if you have any mistakes you've learned from on your cabin build, feel free to share those too. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.